and molecular formula discussion. Okay, so allow me to start now. So, okay, for this topic. But guys, as you can see, I have a very loose, you know, mobile stand. I cannot understand for this. You can see now? Wait. Oh, really? Too small, right? But you can see. Okay, let's check it out. Okay. Now, so everyone, a compound is composed of 52.14% carbon, 13.30% hydrogen, and 34.73% oxygen. Letter A, what are required? What are being asked? Okay, what is the empirical formula? Question mark. What is the molecular formula if the molar mass of the compound is 204 gram moles? So let's go back to basic, right? For example, I will say I have one atom of carbon, okay? So one atom could represent an element in a fixed proportion, that particular one element. For example, if I say chlorine, there's only one atom in chlorine. You get the point? Things like that. Okay. So one atom, since we have now the atomic mass of carbon, okay, which is 12.01 gram per atom. Right? So atomic mass or atomic weight. So you can calculate easily the number of grams by multiplying one atom to 12.01 gram per atom, then your answer will be grams automatically. Right? Okay, can you see or not? Charis. Okay. So sorry guys, I don't have really a big whiteboard for my discussion. Sorry. But you can see, right? Okay. Now, so you can see, okay, 12.01 times 1 atom. So times 1 atom is equal to 12.01 grams. Things like that. Okay? Automatic. Another way around, so you will say also by percentage. See? Percentage. Now, you'll be confused what's being used. It could be the percentage by volume, percentage by mass, because in your particular problem, it was not mentioned really that it is by mass or by volume. So in this case, this will be a default, meaning automatic. In problem solving this, we are dealing with grams or masses, things like that, unless or otherwise specified. Okay, what do you mean? Unless otherwise specified, it was or it is mentioned in the problem that there is volume and L. So you will use percentage by volume. But in this case, nothing. So you will have an automatic understanding that there's gonna be a mass percent, okay, or percentage by mass. Okay. Now in this situation, all are expressed in percentage. So we will use percent by mass or mass percent, right? We will say mass of solute over mass of solution. Okay. Now, since in this topic we're not dealing with solution, we may change the solution into compound, but the same analogy and concept. So we will say mass of carbon, okay, over mass of compound. Okay, things like this, just the same. Okay, now, what is your percentage of carbon? I'm not doing this in automatic style because our teachers in chemistry before, they will automatic style. If the percentage are in the problem solving, they will say automatically 52.4 grams carbon, 13% gram hydrogen. In this way of teaching, the students cannot understand where does this gram automatically arrive. You got the point? So as a teacher, you need to express and elucidate or elaborate where these grams came from. Because it's from presentation. It's not a magic. Okay, this is the area in which you will teach the students more. Okay, you get the point? So in college, it looks like automatic chuvas, but it doesn't mean that you will not really discuss in detail. You get the point? Or in explicit manner. You get the point? Explicit manner meaning very extensive and very good discussion with clarity. Okay, and there's no room for confusion from the students' parts, like that. Okay, so meaning to say very well explained. Okay, you get the point. So if the children, right, pupils or students have the idea, then in the future they can use a lot of maximization in their knowledge learning about this particular topic because the teachers are already did their part, okay, to inculcate to the minds of the students. So this is really, for me, this is really the right attitude. Okay, not always, dependent on the salary you are really paid, and then you will not teach properly and in detail because your salary is not high, things like that, and you are only getting less salary. Though this also matters, but ayaw don't do it because of your own personal reason, okay? So you should be a fulfilled teacher. And since this is a noble task, then actually it's regardless with money. You get the point? So by heart, and you will be happy just teaching that in the way whether we have a less or high salary. You get the point? So the main purpose really is to educate them from the bottom of your heart. So that you can help them and shaping their minds in the future. Okay? Things like that. So, like this, 52.14%. Okay, it's not automatic using 52.14 grams. Huh? So, why? Because of this formula. Percentage by mass is equals to mass of the compound, no, mass of the element, which is carbon, over mass of the compound. So, what is the mass of the carbon? We're teaching you the basics. So it's nothing, right? So you'll say, let X the mass of carbon, in which you don't know yet. Okay, let's avoid automatic ha. For some few teachers teaching in chemistry that if there's percent, automatic 50.14 grams. Like that, okay? If there's 13% of hydrogen, automatic 13% gram. No, it should be derived where that come from grams, okay? Things like that. So let X the mass of carbon, so X. Okay. The mass of the compound, it's not mentioned here. What did I told you in my last 3 days ago? If the total solution or the mass of the compound, you understand compound, right? Compound is composed of two or more elements chemically bonded together. That's the definition of compound. You get the point? Okay. Now, the mass of the compound is not mentioned also here. So you need to have the basis of calculation, which is BC in engineering. BC, basis of calculation. Now, we are dealing here with, the expression of the concentration, expression of the compound like that. Okay, so we need to use 100 grams as our basis of calculation. Okay. Because the mass of the compound here is not given. Okay, unless otherwise specified, there's a mass compound here, then you don't have to set basis of calculation. Basis of calculation will just only be there if there's no mass of the compound, okay, mass of the solution like that. Do not apply that also every time. Okay? Because if there is also given here, hydrogen and perception with the mass of compound is like this, 234, then you will also have the basis 100 because your teacher is always give you the basis of 100 grams. No, it's not. You get the point? So it will be just be there, the basis of calculation, if there's no given in your problem solving. Nothing like that. In this case, nothing, right? There's no mass of the compound. So that's why we have the basis of calculation. This will be applied all from first year college to fifth year college in different problem solving. Basis of calculation in engineering discipline. You get the point? The tactic and technique will always be like that. You get the point? Okay. Now it's very clear to you, right? Okay. Now we need to substitute the mass of compound here, which is 100 grams. Okay. Now, in your substitution moment, I love it, right? Okay, so you may delete the grams, things like that, okay? Or the units for your comfortability. Oh, you can also, but for me, my style, I will just remove it because it's very simple. There's no other units involved here, only the gram, right? So let's see. Percentage by mass is equals to x over 100. Okay, get the point. Percentage by mass of carbon, because we're dealing individually. So you need to substitute that 52.14%. So 52.14% is equal to x over 100. So crisscross multiplication in math, like this, put an x. This is the direction where your multiplication will go. Okay, direction here. So 52.14% times 100. Okay, times 100. The direction there, 1 times x is equals to x. So 52.14%, okay, of 100 is equals to x. Okay, so this is percent. Okay, then you need to convert that to numerical figure. So it will become 52.14 divided by 100, right? Is equals to 0.5214. Okay, so actually this is divided by 100 so that we can cancel the percent. Because you cannot multiply directly the percent with a number, so you need to make it a digit or a numerical figure. So you have to divide that with 100. So it's gonna be 0.5214. Okay, things like that. Okay, so times 100 is equals to x. So therefore, x is equals to 52.14. And this is now grams. So see? So you have now 52.14 grams of carbon. It doesn't mean you need to automatic that immediately to 52.14 grams carbon without showing this explanation. Okay, this is the most important part, the understanding part, why this percentage will become grams. And the teachers, this is the teacher's responsibility. Okay, you get the point, especially for the first time that the students go in the or enter in the class, they don't have any idea pa. You get the point, things like that. So we don't have to compute anymore in this way the hydrogen and oxygen. This is not the time. You need to automatic because we already showed to you that is going to be the computation. So you will say automatically 13.13 grams of hydrogen, 34.73 grams of oxygen. No need to do one by one because we have now an idea how to compute. Right? Okay. Things like that. Okay? Any questions so far, class? Nothing? Or you may have some questions? This sounds so elementary, but we need to go back to the basics to understand really. You get the point? Okay. Questions so far? Nothing, right? Okay. Chart. So, we need to erase this one. Where's my eraser? Oh my God. Where's my eraser? It's lost. Gosh. Okay. It's lost from my eyesight. I cannot see at the moment. Oh my gosh. Hello. Where's my eraser? Charis. Okay. It's lost, right? Oh my gosh. Eraser, where are you? Okay. Wait, give me 2 minutes to look for my eraser. Okay. Oh my gosh. Where's that? Okay, eraser away. So, nakakaloka yung eraser natin, no? Okay. So, this one, it's here. It's here, the eraser chubas. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. Let's check. Okay, nakapagloka, diba? Okay, let's erase this part. Okay, so we understand already, right? Okay. Now, first technique of empirical formula. Okay, get the number of moles. This is the mechanics how to solve this. Number one, obtain or get the number of moles. Obtain the number of moles. Obtain the number of moles. So why we need to obtain the number of moles? Because they will now be chemically bonded with each other to produce a compound. So we need to deal now with the moles. So obtain the number of moles. And again, after obtaining the number of moles of each elemental constituent, divide that with the least. Okay? Divide with the least number of moles. Okay? Each element. And then carry it in a compound by multiplying that in a compound. Let's say if you have CHO, things like that, carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. So normally the components of carbohydrates, right? Okay, the energy-giving food that we eat daily a tool. Okay, things like that. So divide with the least number of moles and then multiply that in the compound. And multiply that in a compound. Okay? In a compound, it can automatically. Okay? So basically, you have the CXHYZ here, subscripts, in which unknowns. You don't know yet. And this XYZ subscript, so that you can obtain the number of moles, you need to do the calculation now. Obtain the number of moles. Now, the first tactic for this, if you are dealing with the number of moles, again, what is the definition of mole? Mole is the basic unit of the amount of substance. Okay, that's the definition of a mole. M-O-L-E. Okay? Like that. Now, the first step is to obtain the moles, right? Then, you have an automatic idea that if you do that, we need to consider the, okay, atomic weight or atomic mass. And now the atomic mass and atomic weight here, we will now become an molecular weight or the molar mass in terms of gram per mole. Because it is not solo anymore. This carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen will be banded together to produce one molecule or one molecule of CHO, as I mentioned here, or a compound. Things like that. In empirical formula, don't have name yet. Okay, that's why it's empirical. You got the point? So don't have name yet. What's this element? What this compound? Really? You got the point? Not sure. Okay, go for carbon. Let's now have our solution. Carbon. So the atomic mass of carbon is 12.0. So this is gram per atom at first, right? Now it will become gram per mole. Okay. And now for the hydrogen, it will become now 1.008 gram per mole. Okay. And then for oxygen, it will now become, okay, 16 gram per mole. But this is only for the purpose of calculations, but they are only existing as a solo flight element without chemical combination with others. These gram moles here are gram per atom. To the point, the purpose of chemically bonding them to produce one compound. That's why now in terms of gram per moles with a purpose. Okay, that's very clear. But if don't have purpose alone as a solo flight element, like the standalone only, so this will carbon 12.01 gram atom. Okay, but here there's a purpose. We need to chemically combine them to produce a molecule. That's why it will become the gram per mole. So that's the purpose. Okay, that's the point. Things like that. Now we need to find a mole now. So consider this grams. So 52.4 grams of, okay, carbon, and then 13.13 grams of hydrogen, and then 34.73 grams of oxygen. Right? Now, it's very obvious that we have grams, and then the moles will be cancelled. So we need to say multiplication. Okay, by common sense. Or either, it's up to you how to pronounce that. Or either, You get the point? So you will use the formula. Number of moles is equal to the mass, okay, of an element or single element, okay, things like that, over the molar mass of each element in the compound. So there's gonna be things like that, no? Okay, so molar mass, let's denote that sa capital M so that di bulubog siya for the declaration of the what it was variable to the mass also, because mass meaning small m. So in molecular weight, we will designate as capital M. Okay, so or molar mass or molecular weight, let's say for carbon, because the purpose we need to combine them is gonna be, okay, the small m over the n, small n. Small n is the number of moles. So again, basic discussion. Small letter m, mass of element or elemental constituent within the compound. N is the number of moles. Capital M is the molar mass or the molecular weight. Things like that. So that you have now an idea what's that all about before inserting individually in your formula. So that di ka maglibo. Things like that. You have an idea really. It's not an automatic, right? You get the point. So, it's here. So first for carbon, right? You get the point. Now we need to get the number of moles. Again, cross multiplication in algebra. Okay? Put an x. The x is the direction where you go in multiplication. Okay? Capital M times small letter n. So m, n. So this capital M is understood to be over 1. So 1 times small letter m. So 1 times small letter m. Meaning to say, m is equals to capital M times small letter n, then m is equals to the capital M is the molecular weight, which is equal to 12.01. So 12.01, okay, grams per mole times the number of moles in which you don't know, right? So n, you know the mass, so put 52.14 grams here. Okay, like that. So solve for the n, basic math again in algebra, then you can have, so it's gonna be 52.14 over 52.14. Then 12.01 over 52.14. So 52.14 divided by 52.14, 1. So this will be 1. So therefore, crisscross again, then you will have the number of moles for carbon. So like that. So others are commenting me that my solution is just like binata. Things like that. We will start for this because, so that it will be having clarity. So one engineer also, licensed chemical engineer, saying like that you explain in a very spoon-feed manner things like, I have to, because for example, if my students are very young, they don't have an idea at first, or even if, right, we need to do it in a nice way, or in a clarity way, in a clear way, rather. You get the point? So it doesn't mean also that we are engineers, our style of teaching will not be elaborative, okay, or will not be explicit because we are now having masteral units, like that. We are now a registered engineer in our country, like that, or licensed, whatever, things like that. So it's not saying like that. We need to follow all the basic steps in teaching. You get the point. Things like that. So, despite of saying that to me, I'm also happy because it's the reality, right? Okay, so you need to multiply that one, chuba chuchu. So 12.01. Okay, because that chemical engineer is teaching college students. Because usually in college students, automatic chubas. Okay, but me, it's totally different. I need to explain that in a very clear manner. Okay, sorry. Okay, 12.01 divided by 52.14 is equals to how much? Okay, divided by 52.14 is equals to 0.23. Okay, or 0.230. So 0.230. Okay, like be sure guys, when you multiply, grams per gram mole, like that. Be sure that it will be cancelled because in this manner you will say grams times gram mole, it will become gram squared over mole. So this is not the case. Okay? You get the point. So number of moles, mass in the top divided by your grams. Here, see very clear. See, N is equals to mass over M. So mass is 52.14 over the molecular at 12.01. So actually this is the reverse. Okay? So automatic. This is the reverse. So mass, we need to say 52.14 divided by the molecular weight. So the more it's easy sometimes, no, you will be confused, right? Okay, but don't mind it. Okay, you get the point. So 52.14 divided by 12.01 is equals to 4.34. Because, sometimes yes, you need to check your answer if it is too small. Okay, 4.34 moles sa carbon. Okay, mauna na siya. Then, since you are saying number of moles, mass of the element over the mass of the, of the molecular weight, then hydrogen, oxygen will follow. Things like that. Okay. So for hydrogen, we're gonna have 13.13 divided by 1.008 atomic mass of hydrogen. So pila man na siya 13.13. Okay. So we start na siya kagubot. No, let's erase this one. Okay. So let's have the answer here beside. Okay, 4.34 for carbon. So let's erase the others so that it will not confuse us because I have a limited space in my discussion. Right? So things like that. My whiteboard is very small. Okay, I cannot expand further. Okay. Okay, this is my speaker. Okay, my other speaker by the way. It's gonna be 13.13 automatic divided by 1.008. No need to explain further the formula because I show already how to do it, right? So things like that. So 13.13 divided by 1.008 is equal to, pila man siya mga palangga kung hitad. Okay, pila. 13.13 divided by 1.008 is equals to 13.026. Okay. 13.026 for hydrogen. And for oxygen, it's gonna be, the mass of oxygen is 34.73 grams. Okay. Over the atomic mass of oxygen, 32. So how much is that? Okay. So, ano din siya, no? So, 34.73 divided by 32 is equals to 1.085. So 1.085, right? Am I correct? Yeah. Okay. So now, you will compare this here. The answers are in moles already. So 4.34 moles, 13.026 moles, 1.085 moles. In our step number 2, we need to determine the least number of moles or the smallest number of moles, which is 1.085. You get the point? Ganun. Okay. So what you will do for this is you will carry now the CHO. The first letter of your element. So let's say carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Right? So you will now supplying the XYZ here. Okay? In the subscript of this carbon oxygen. So now you will put now here initially 4.3 for carbon because you solved it already, right? Put hydrogen also 13.026 subscript and oxygen 1.085. Okay, so like that. So there's a point two what you choose when something in your carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. So the rule is you need to get the least number of moles. So consider this 1.085. The least, and then divide that each element. So 4.34 divided by 1.085, 13.06 divided by 1.085, and 1.085 divided by 0.85. Show it. Okay, not automatic. Okay, things like that. Okay, so 4.34 divided by 1.085, it's gonna be 4. When you divide this, 4, so it's gonna be C4. Okay, now 13.06. Okay, divide by 1.085 is equals to 12.034. So H is equals to 12.034. So since we are now having our empirical formula, avoid the point something. So it's gonna be 12. Okay. But in determining the least number of moles, you don't have to drop out the point something because it matters a lot. Only in the final empirical formula that you need to drop out the point something because it's impossible for a compound to have a subscript which is point something chuvas. Okay, it's not allowed. Very strict. No point something. You get the point? So 1.085 divided by 1.085, obviously 1. Obviously putting 1 or nothing is just the same. Okay, because if you put 1 and no 1 in math, the 1 will be the same as nothing here in chemistry. Okay? You get the point? Sorry? In math pala, it will have an important effect. If you put 0 and 1. But in chemistry, if you don't put number 1 here in the subscript of oxygen, it's just the same as saying not putting. Okay, so I would rather not put. Okay, because in chemical formula you found in actual, there's no 1 chuba chu chu in the chemical formula. So it's negligent, negligible. Sorry, negligible. Get the point? It has no impact. So consider this C4H12, your empirical formula. Wow, I love it. Now, take a closer look of your empirical formula. You may say, I will simplify that further because 12 can be divided by 4 and 4 divided by 4 is equal to 1. You cannot simplify that one because oxygen, 1 over 4, so it will become point something also. Okay, because others are very brilliant. Simplify. Things like to the extent that you will get point something. So it's not allowed. Because see, there's 4, 12. So divisible by 4 each. But take note, the oxygen is 1 over 4, 1/4. Nakakaloka. So you will also get point something. So don't do that. Okay? You get that. Unless there's also 36 here. So you can simplify further, but it's only 1. Okay, got the point? So it's gonna be C4H12O is the answer of our array. What is the empirical formula? So C4H12 like that, oxygen. Ganon! Okay, got the point mga palangga kong hitad. Now if you are really confused, if you are not really, you are not convinced, then you have to review. Say, 52.14, diba? Divided by 12.01 to make it safe. Maybe it's wrong also. In my calculation before in my college, I need to do it twice in the review. Okay? Things like that. Divided by 12. If you don't review, that's wrong. You have to review every time. Twice, minimum. Okay, if you still have time, thrice. The more you have time too much, then review to the highest level. Okay? But if you don't have time anymore, kailangan man. Okay? So common sense. Okay, so 13. But if you don't review after you get your answer, that's a wrong technique. Okay? For example, you solve the problem and you get it correctly in the choices or whatever, in MCQ's problem, for example, only A, B, C, D, then you are confident that you solved it correctly. No, you have to review again. It's a requirement, okay, to pass, okay, things like that. So 13.13 divided by 1.008 because the atomic mass of hydrogen, okay, so it's going to be 13.026, correct, perfect. Okay, now for your oxygen, oxygen is 34.73, okay, so 34.73, okay, now, in this case, guys, maglibog mo sa oxygen, no? Why? because others will use the 32 part. Okay. Actually, to use the 32 na oxygen gas. Others, because I already also experienced for this. That's why I teach you. Okay, in chemistry, when I was very not immature, I am amateur and callow, meaning to say I don't have experience yet in solving, first timer, neophyte, beginner. I also understand in this way. Okay. Now, in empirical formula, you don't have to consider the diatomic rule. Let's say O2, F2, C2. So you will just always use the solo flight, monoatomic. So we'll use the oxygen, which is the atomic mass of oxygen is 16. Since if this will become O2, this is 2 times 16, right? 32. But this is not existing as a gas. Here, oxygen gas. It is a standalone oxygen only without subscript. Okay? Just like in balancing chemical equation, you take individually, but you don't take the subscript like that in your balancing, right? You say balance hydrogen, H, balance oxygen. Don't carry the subscript. The same also with empirical formula, because others like me, you'll be tempted to 34.73 divided by 32. Okay, no, it's not. 34.73 divided by 16. Okay, the atomic mass of a monoatomic, okay? Monoatomic meaning there's no subscript. Monoatomic oxygen. Okay? Things like that. The point, or oxygen, it's not alone. Once it is said oxygen, that is monoatomic. When it said oxygen gas, that is O2. Take note also how it is being phrased in the grammar in chemistry. Okay, that's the point. If you mean oxygen gas, it means O2. Now, for example, fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine. If there's two subscript, all will be fluorine gas, bromine gas, iodine gas, like that. Okay? It's very clear now. Okay, so 34.73. Okay, divided by 16. So 34 divided by 16 is 2.17. So this, I told you, this is our second review. It's 2.17, not 0.085. Okay, so divided by, so that's why I told you, right? With clarity, review it twice. 2.17, this is not 1.085, so 2. Okay, now you rework here, so to put 2.17, this is 2.17 for the second review. Okay, that's part of life really, guys. When you do the experiment, you have to repeat until you will become successful. Okay, this is reality and scientific research. There's no scientific research that will be obtained on the spot. You get immediately. You have to repeat that. That's why our scientists also discovered something. It will take them a long time to discover the single element. So this is normal. Okay, in experimentation, calculation, research, or whatever. You get the point? Or pati pa nga niya, mahuyab ka. Mahuyab ka dito sa di ay. So you need to try until sugtun ka. This also like this in problem solving. Okay, there's no such na mahuyab ka. Sugutan ka dito. So, okay, get the point. So this gonna be like giila din mo si girl, the girl. Like that. You get the point. Ganon. Okay, 2.17 divided by 2.17, again, 1. Then, mausap na siya ang 13.026 divided by 2.17. It's not 12 already. It's gonna be the half of it. Okay. Okay, guys. So, I love that. Okay, 3.06 divided by 2.17. Okay. 1.41. But you know, for the older students, okay, sometimes they trust only one time, right? The Dean's Listers or whatever. Okay, or the summa cum laude, magna cum laude, or graduate with honors. Fast learners, you don't have to repeat in the discussion, sure. Like that. But me, I'm not like that. I'm just a little bit above of average. Even though I am a Dean's Listers, I'm a consistent honor student, but my style is different. Okay, I need to review, and like that. Okay? Things like that. So they are more confident, right? So good for them. Okay? divided by 2.17. Okay, this is 6.01 or 6. Okay, things like that. Okay. Okay guys, siguro this is the reason that I am not I'm not tapping the board exam. Okay, get the point? Things like that. Because sometimes I commit skill errors talaga siya. Okay? But for the theories and principles, wala na dyan ko yung problema guys. It's only on the problem solving. Okay? Kaya ako dyan nag-memorize yung hurot. Okay? Sa ng mga theories and principles. Okay, you get the point. So, wala yung mahabilin sa bit, tuldok, or punctuation mark. Okay, but I ensure that I understand because I rephrase that sometimes, things like that. Okay? You get the. So, when I was in college, I'm very sigurista kasi. Okay? To memorize everything, including the period, the punctuation marks, is so that I will having a perfect answer in terms of theories and principles. But if you want me to rephrase, I can rephrase also that. Okay? But the purpose only to save time. That's why it's completely the same word when I answer. Okay, then I also read again if the thought and sense will be okay. That's for theories, principles, and concepts. But relating to this problems, it's not really my strength, as I told you over and over again. Okay, because to be an engineer, you must the reason for that you must be good in math. I'm breaking kasi. Okay, you know that I'm breaking. Meaning to say, even though I'm not really that good in math, but still I push to love math because I'm taking engineering. So, in my part, I'll just prove that you don't have to be good at math, much in math to become an engineer. Because most of the parents are saying, Nak, you will not take engineer because you are not good in math. So what if the students love to become an engineer? That is not a hindrance because you can really, what I'm trying to point out, you can really love that someday. Okay, by studying a lot, and then passionate like that to learn, eagerness to learn to something like that, and then by the time you love it and it will become your attitude and culture, then you love math already. Right? You developed from loving it. Just like that, okay? For example, if you don't love that in the first time, then you develop it sometimes, then that girl will be, you married her. But at first you don't love that girl. It looks like it took 3 months, 4 months to love her, even though at first you don't love her. You get the point? Because there are always cases in a marriage. Only the girl loves you so much if you're a boy, but due to how many months like that together and you develop for her. Math, studying also like that. Even though at first you don't like, since you indulged and engaged every second, every minute, every month, every year for that particular subject, especially if it's a requirement in your profession or in your course, then you need to love that. There's no choice. Okay? And reverse also. Okay, if the boy also love too much with the girl and the girl also don't love too much with the boy. So it took how many months and years to develop the relationship. Things like that. Because at first the other one party only like, the other one not. There's also sometimes both of you like each other directly. And that would be perfect, ideally. But sometimes it's not like that. The other party only love that much, the other one no love that much. I cannot relate, but but this is really the situation in actual, okay? But others also love each other on the spot. No need to develop chuba chucho. You get the point? So things like that also in our problem solving. Okay, get the point? So if you don't love it, then no choice because you want to become an engineer. Okay, things like that. You get the point? So 13, so you need to love it for the rest of your life. Okay, divided by 2.17 is equals to 6. Okay, so again, you don't have to be good in math that much to become an engineer. Trust me. Okay, like that. So 4.34. So parents, if your sons and daughters want to become an engineer, then if they are not really that good in math, so just leave it what they want because they will learn to love it soon. Okay? Ganon. So, because they love it, then go ahead. Don't force them to do other things in which they don't love. things like that. You get the point. So the ending of that is they are not happy in the course they take. So it will be a fatal in the future. There's a lot also confusion like that. I experienced that. A licensed nurse and he don't like, okay, for the purpose of her auntie, aunt, the sister of her mother, because that aunt is educating him in nursing school like that, okay? And then deep inside his heart, he don't like. And then when he graduated, he always talked with me because he is our safety officer at the time. Things like that. And then he wanted to learn something about engineering. Of course, I normally share him, blah, 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 what's the basics like that, math like that, because I'm engineer, things like that. And then later, he learned also from me a little bit. A little bit lang, oy. Okay, get the point. And then, he is not working as a nurse. He's working as a safety manager now, higher than me. Imagine. Okay, so you cannot really judge the book by its own cover to those people who are willing to learn. Okay, even though that is not their course, right? So it's only the willingness, passion, and love. It's not really that if you are like that, you are only the only one have the right to be good at that particular specialization. Others have also will be better than you. You get the point? Trust me, okay? You get the point, things like that. Okay? Because the desire is more strong. And the others also are already complacent because they are already, for example, they are already a mechanical engineer, they're already industrial engineer, but the other people are not having that kind of course, but they are really passionate to learn about that. So someday they will surpass you, the knowledge. Trust me, okay? So we should not be complacent. We should not be taking for granted that if we are like that already, we don't learn day by day. You should learn day by day, okay? Things like that. You get the point? Okay, so just like me, I'm a chemical engineer, and there's other also not chemical engineer, but they are willing to learn about chemicals. Time will come, they will surpass my knowledge because I'm complacent, I'm relaxed, I'm doing other things like that. Okay, you get the point. So it's not the end. You should have continuous learning in your specialization, even though you are already working. Sorry for that, guys. This is me kasi. Okay, you get the point. Knowledge is continuous learning. Okay, you get the point. Talaga, ganon siya. So it will never die until your last breath. Okay? So 0.36 talaga siya, no? So let's say 4.34 divided by 217, ganon, atong i-review. Okay, it's gonna be 2. So it's gonna be carbon 2, H6O. Okay, ako makawan bright kay Annie. Okay, C2H6O. You get the point, things like that. So this is our empirical formula, not the C4H12. So maybe they will hear me like this discussion, they will laugh at me. Okay, got the point? Because they're very, very good. Okay, things like that. Okay, C2H6O, especially mentioned to Ma'am Sterling Matola. Okay. Ma'am Sterling Matola is a chemistry teacher in West Virginia, America now. Okay, like that. She is my classmate in chemical engineering. Okay, things like that. So, letter B. What is the molecular formula of the molar mass of the compound if it is having 204 grams? Muna na siya itong empirical formula, guys. Let's erase this other tubas. Okay. So, memorize na ito ng C2H6, no? Okay. Muna na itong empirical formula. We had answered A already. Okay, now we have, what is the molecular formula? Okay, being asked, molecular formula. Yes. So molecular formula now is the reality of your compound. Empirical formula is just only your basis initially. Okay, molecular formula, how can you compute that? Okay, so we have 204 grams per mole. So this is for your molecular formula, and you have your empirical formula. So you simply divide your molecular formula to your empirical formula to get the number of moles. So number of moles or ratio. Okay, we have molecular formula or mass, molar mass okay, of compound divided by the empirical formula, which is here, C2H6O, empirical formula. Okay, so what will be the result upon dividing these two? Okay, take the 204 grams per mole over, now you don't have the grams per mole in this empirical formula, so take it. Okay, wow, take it ha. Okay, so C2H6O, so carbon, ganon. 2 times 12.01. Okay, because you need to determine each number of moles you have to deal with individually. Subscript times atomic mass, subscript na atomic mass, okay? So hydrogen, subscript 6. 6 times hydrogen, 1.008. Okay, and your oxygen is gonna be like, so here, looking at here, so there's no subscript, again, 1 times 16. So your confusing part here is only the oxygen, right? Okay, things like that. Okay, so it's not perfection. We sometimes we're really confused. Okay, so 2 times 12.01, so 24.02. This one here. Okay, meaning to say you need also to get the molecular weight or the molar mass of your empirical formula. That is your denominator. Okay, things like so. 6 times 1.008 is equals to 6.048. So in determining the molecular weight and molar mass, okay, you have to get the point something because it will play an important role. Okay, you get the point. So 16, oh, obviously 16. 16 times 1. Okay, you get the point. Sometimes I laugh myself. Okay, because of this chuvas. Okay, you get the point. So 24.02 plus, oy, nakakaloka, di ba? 76, right? 76. And then guys, also guys, no, my weakness is my penmanship. Okay. I have a, let's say, good penmanship in the letters, but you know, the numbers are not really good. Numbers. Okay. So, as a person or as a professional, you already discovered your weakness, right? Things like that. So, that's gonna be my weakness also with writing the numbers. It's not very clear also, see? Okay, it should be supposedly very nice. Okay, so that you can also have a perfection. Okay, see, my 7 looks like, okay, things like that. What's that? Okay, so especially my 7, sometimes my 6, and you know what I mean, right? The putting of the numbers sometimes not perfection. Okay, and it plays an important role in math kasi you have to write clearly the numbers. Okay, things like that. So I think this is the typical mistakes of all, not only me, right? Okay, plus 16. Okay, 116.068. So, muna na siya ang atong molar mass or molecular weight sa atong empirical formula. So, divide that and put that in the denominator. It's gonna be 116, okay, 0.08 grams per mole. Since this is fraction already, you need to cancel both the gram per mole. So, pila na lang yung fraction. So, 204 divided by 116.08, pila na siya mga palangga. So 1.75. Now, this topic also needs critical analysis because when you will round it off, so that's the time you will review math also, the theory of rounding off numbers. When? Because this is very important. See, I get 1.75. Will I round it off this or not? But there's specific rule in your math about rounding off numbers or rounding off digits. So review that also. When? Okay? In this case, okay, you can round it off this to 2 immediately. There's a rule for this. Others will round it off this to 1.8 because 5 is already above 4. Things like, or halfway, so they will say 1.8. Or others will not also round it off this. Okay? That's why we need to review the rounding off topic in algebra. so that we will understand what's really the most important way how to round it off this. Okay, now, we have the rule in algebra, right? It's gonna be like that 1.8, 1.75. But this is not applicable in chemistry because we don't have point something moles again in chemical formula. You can never say H 1.8O for water. It should be H2O. Meaning to say exact all the time. Now, if we will follow the rule in math, let's say 1.7, 1.8 or 1.75, then how can we put that in a chemical formula? So we need to round it off that as 1 only. So we have to force that as 2. No choice. So meaning to say, we deviate a little bit the rounding off in math. You get the point? Here in chemistry. For the reason that we don't have really subscript and number of moles and atoms or number of atoms. So you will force this as 2. No choice. Then if you will put that as 1, it's very also less. You have already 1.7. That's why I said critical thinking and critical analysis will matter here already. Okay, because not all teachers will discuss the common sense or the decision making in complexity sometimes. They are not on our side, our back to say, "Uy," like that. This automatic understanding by our own comprehension sometimes. You get that? Even though how spoon feed the teachers really are, there's also a situation that you need to judge according to what you understand by your own conviction, your own belief. So we don't have now anymore our classmates in our back. We don't have anymore our teachers in our side. We don't have anymore our parents on the side. So this is the time that we need to decide by our own. You get the point in the problem solving. Because in the examination, we are alone by ourselves. We cannot copy between others there. It's very strict. The proctor and the person assigned to watch and to monitor you is very strict. Like that, rounding like that. And then if they will see you, they will confiscate your papers. How can you copy in that manner? At the same time, to copy also is not good. Aside from that, cheating is not good. You will not be happy in the end. Even though you pass as a licensed engineer, but you do it in cheating, it's not really worth fulfilling. Okay? You get the point? So that's why you don't have to cheat just to pass. So even though you are an engineer, but it's not a legit also by your heart and God knows it. Okay? You cannot hide it. Because I think also there's also licensed engineer that are copying also. We don't know, right? Okay. Because there's no perfection. You got the point, things like that. Okay. So to those who are really honest, this is for you. For those who are not honest, so maybe this sounds not good for you. Okay, because you are just successful because of cheating. Okay, get the point. So 1.75 is equals to 2. Okay. So it's not enough saying just to survive you are cheating. No, it's not really good. When you die, God will ask you, why you are copying during your board examination? Really? And how can you answer that? Okay? It's too late. Okay, right? So your conscience, right? Conscience will kill you. Okay, so it's gonna be 2. Okay, things like that. So we have now 2 here, our fraction. So this 2 here, you will now multiply the C, X, H, Y, Z. And we have empirical formula is C2H6O. So you need to multiply this by 2H, the elemental. Things like that. So it will become 2 times 2, C4. 2 times 6, H12. 2 times O, O2. Okay, so C4H12O2. You multiply only the fraction in the empirical formula. Put close and open parentheses. And put the number here. Multiply. C4H12O2. Again. 2 times 2, 4. 2 times 6, 12. 2 times 1 is 2. So this is now your molecular formula. So in short, your empirical formula and molecular formula are not the same. Okay? So your molecular formula is always greater than your empirical formula. That's the the theory behind. Because once your molecular formula have lesser moles compared to your empirical formula, then you are wrong. Okay, things like that. Even though how hard you try. Okay, C4H12. Now, things like this. So if I will add another question, we say, what is the compound for this? Then you look for the molecular weight for this that's equal to the name of that particular compound. So this is more difficult. Let us see. We say, what is the compound? I will add another question. What is this compound? You don't know, right? So this is now qualitative analysis. You need to determine what's the compound involved in it particular problem solving. Now, the best way to understand it is to get the molecular weight and compare that to the molecular weight of different compounds. Then if it really jive or match, then you declare that it's the same, say, a glycerol, like that, ethyl alcohol. So add also this molecular weight, for example, only for the purpose of discussion. So 4 times 12. Because this is common in engineering or in chemical engineering that you need to determine the compound after all. Okay, so for or BS chemistry, 48, right? Okay, so 12 times 1.008. Not only BS chemistry and chemical engineering, all engineering students have chemistry. Okay, sorry to say this. Okay, like that. Or 12.096. This one. I'm just teaching you that this is the method how to do it. Okay? Things like that. Okay, 2 times 16 is equals to 32. Diba mga palangga? Then add now the new molar mass of that having that molecular formula. This. Okay, so 48. O diba? 48 plus 12.096 plus 32 is equals to 612 point something. No. So 48 plus, review for the second time. 096 is equals to plus 32. Guys, I noticed also guys, in college, when you press very strong the calculator, it will have a very large value. Do it in a very smooth way in touching the keypad of the calculator. You may have the correct one. Notice that also, especially if you are fast, right? You're very eager normally. Okay, so many data in your brain cells. You studied a lot, right? And then you compute very fast, like that. And then when you press the calculator, at first it will yield not really the correct one. Then if you repeat that again, very slow, touching the keypad of the calculator, it will show another one. Observe that also. And then later, do it again, it will yield the same answer with the second one, how you do it. So I discovered that also in college. Okay, do not press too much the keypad on the calculator because it will yield a very huge answer, or let's say less, it depends. But I'm telling you, erroneous, meaning error. Okay? So do not trust on the first operation of calculator. Trust 2 times or 3 times, minimum 2 times. Because at first, that will not also be the exact really sure. Okay, but if you're confident, you believe already, then no problem. I'm just telling you my confession. Okay, my experience. Okay, because experience is the best teacher. You get the point? Things like that. So 12.096. Akong third time review, yes, 92 talaga siya. So which among the compound have 92.096 gram mole? Now, since I don't have a chemistry book in my hand, okay, I don't have to Google search this. If you Google this, there will be answer. But I will just try to use my brain cells based on my experience. What is really having 92.096? Only guessing. So let's say I will try this is sucrose first. Okay, just to have it guess, because I don't want to depend in Google search. Sucrose, let's say it's gonna be also sometimes 96 something. You will like that play around your brain cells. Let's check if it is really sodium chloride. No, it's not. I think it's gonna be also sometimes glucose. Okay, 96. So it's gonna be, I think it's also, let's say, sulfuric acid, things like that. Okay. Things like that. Now, the one you guess in your brain cells, you need also to determine the molecular weight if it matches here. Then if it matches really, then that's already the compound. You get the point? Things like, but this kind of method is very, it's not really logical, right? Because you keep on thinking a lot. Your whole thought will be finished. You get the point in the examination. Okay, things like that. So it could either be this kind of question will not be asked, or there will be choices. This is the last option for the questionnaire. Because it looks like crazy to keep on thinking and it will match here. But it's possible, at least it can exercise our brain, but it looks like not practical, right? For a questionnaire to have like this. So, for me, let's try, okay? Because I don't have anything in my hand. I don't have the chemical engineer handbook. I don't have the chemistry book. Then, okay, things like that. So let's say sucrose. Sucrose is carbon 12 H22O11, the chemical formula. So it's already beyond because it's only C4H12O2, right? So no need to go further. So this is not sucrose anymore. Okay. So glucose is not already glucose, this is H12O6. Okay. Then sulfuric acid. 92. So sulfuric, no? So H2SO4. Let's say, example lang yun, ha? Okay. Okay, so 2.008. Basta hindi ay? 32. Ang sulfur. Oxygen, 4 times 16, guys. 64, no? Okay. Pag sure oil, yeah, 64. Hala! Nakatagap siya ko, guys, do. Uy, wala ba dyan ko na ni guys, because my blood is not really, let's say, it's not really scripted. 2 plus 2, 4 plus 4, 8. So we have now 98 for sulfuric acid and we have 92, almost. So it could have been another that is closer to 92. But sulfuric acid kasi 98.084 grams per mole. So I think it's not sulfuric, the lesser. So you come to think for another that is lesser, right? Okay. But if you consume all your time already, that's the time you will refer to the books like that. Okay? Because I have no choices here in the letter C. A, sulfuric acid. B, glycerol. So in that way, you can compute the molecular weight and match that here. Okay? Because our compound here, guys, in our problem solving is unknown. We don't know yet. Okay? We are only knowing the quantitative amounts in terms of gram, percentage. But how about the qualitative analysis for this? What's really this compound all about? So, in my case, I cannot also Google search because my phone is used in live streaming. So, this will be your assignment. Having a 92.096 grams per mole, what's this compound all about? And that's your answer in letter C. Because I added one question to further enhance our learning. You get the point? Things like that. So, that's it. There's a problem solving and you come to think another question also to maximize your knowledge. You get the point? So this is all about empirical formula and molecular formula. You get the point? Now, okay, the point here. Sometimes the problem involves like this and there's mixing also with another question. See, what is the percentage by volume like that? And then, mabuang ka because I'm just explaining this to you. So this is what makes chemical engineering difficult because if there's a problem like this and then it will be related to another topic in which the students did not know yet in actual because the teacher is not incorporating that there. And then during the examination, it will be attached now in the exam, in the midterm, in the final. And then normally the students are not expecting that. They put that there, okay? And then it's not mentioning in the actual class. For example, empirical formula topic, and then the question will be, what is the acceleration of like this, of this particular compound when it will be dropped in the pipeline? Nakakaloka. So it looks like very far, right? Okay, now, my philosophy, you cannot question the teachers for that. Why? Because we have prerequisite subjects in which you passed already. That's the time you need to apply that there and connect that to that particular topics. So this is not the teacher's fault actually. It is you because you don't absorb your previous topics and you apply that there because it's not limited like that only what you understand what you gain from that particular topic. If your teacher is teaching about Le Chatelier's principle, so it's obviously it's related to chemical reaction. So expect the unexpected. That's why you cannot take that subject passing this prerequisite subject. Get the point? For example, you are taking now thermodynamics, and a lot of thermodynamics topic uses chemistry. Don't tell me the teachers will go back to the topics of general tech. No need, right? So even though that's not attached in a particular topic, so it's really you. That's your fault because you did not apply the learning of your previous subjects. So if that is the case, the prerequisites are not really important, but we have prerequisite subjects before taking that one. Meaning of prerequisites, you cannot take that subject without passing this particular subject. So that's the purpose there. That's why they kept on giving examination in which not totally the same with their sample problems during the discussion. And the students normally will hate, right? We've experienced that also. And we will say the teacher is terror like that or whatever. No, it's not really actually. Okay, it's us. Because we didn't absorb very well the previous subjects before sit in that particular subject. Okay, but for me also as a teacher, I will not too much incorporate, which is very far also. Even despite knowing that it's also related, because we will be calibrated by our performance. If nobody passed also in our class, it looks like we are not an effective professor. We are not effective teacher if only one will pass. Okay, so because we are calibrated by the percentage passers of our class also. And then if only one will pass, so what's this all about? Meaning to say you are introducing them an examination that they are not acquainted to. It looks like not good to listen, or your impression is not good, right? So you are not an effective teacher. Things like that. So you need to balance now your way of examining the learning or assessment. So let's say average like that, and then the third part will be a little bit difficult, things like that. You don't make all difficult also because nobody will pass. Only the fast learners. You get the point? So your class composed of slow learners, average learners, and fast learners. Then you only extract the fast learners. How about the other learners? They're also paying tuition fee, right? And their efforts also in going your classroom daily would be a great impact. And then out of a sudden, they will just fail. Nakakaloka, di ba? So you need to adjust your way of assessment also. But sad to say, there are professors that love to give difficult examination, and if there's only one will pass, they will be happy. So I think you can also experience that in your university, in your college. Instead of being sad because only one will pass, they will be happy instead. Sure. But not all. I think there's only 2, 3 out of 10. But there's really, guys. Sorry. Murag malipay sila ngayon makapasar. You get the point? So I think this is what they call terror. Things like that in college. So I can always remember that also. That disurunjog ka, in fairness. Nakakaloka. Okay, get the point? And then, you wonder why, take note this ha, you wonder why, when you go to another books, you can answer well. Right? But when you go to his classroom, he will cheat or he will give exams. But why you cannot answer well? Okay, what's the difference? Meaning, the method and the way how they teach. Things like that. You get the point? Ganon. So, it's not really saying that you are not good. It depends on the instructors. Generally. Because, for example, me, okay, then why I have a very high grade, high scores in chemical engineering subject in my board examination. I was shocked And then if you try to look at my transcript, honestly, I don't have a very high grades in my major subjects. Though a little bit average, but it's not very superior grade. That's the reason that I'm not graduating with honors. That's the reason I'm not a cum laude. Okay? So I am only dance lister up to fourth year college. Okay, but first semester. When second semester, fourth year college, going to fifth year college, I was not able to maintain that dance list. Okay, things so I think it matters on the instructors na. You get the point? Because when you are facing the examination in the reality, that's not patterned already by your instructors, right? Agree or not? The board examination exams are not patterned by your instructor's exams. Right? Then why you are having good grades, good scores? So, it will be on the teachers. Okay, the way how they give the exams may be too difficult. Like, or, ano ba? I get the point. So, that's why I always think that until now. Okay, you get the point? And then sometimes your strengths also are not very high. It's average like that. Okay, but honestly, in general engineering, I have not a very high score. It pulled up my other, subjects. That's why. Okay, so it's really proven because I'm not really that good in math. Okay, general engineering focusing a lot of mathematics, all mathematics, algebra, geometry, trigonometry, solid mensuration, probability and statistics, engineering equations, differential equations, advanced engineering mathematics, things like that, no? Probability and statistics, like that, and then analytical geometry, trigonometry, things like that, arithmetic, things like that. All kinds of math are in the general engineering examination. That's one day. Okay, one day, all math. And then plus engineering mechanics, strength of materials, things like this are more on civil engineering topics, right? But they incorporate that in all engineering disciplines. Okay, this engineering mechanics and strength of materials. These are the strengths of civil engineers. Strength of materials and engineering mechanics. Okay, and then they incorporate also a little bit of electricity, practical electricity in the general engineering. Practical electricity, Ohm's law, like that, blah, 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 so and so. And they incorporate also a little bit of, physics. Okay, here in the day one, but all are problem solving. Then this is my lowest score out of the three. And my highest is chemical engineering. Okay, my major. Okay, and then second will be the sciences and the physical sciences. Like that. And my lowest is the general engineering. Okay, things like that. And if you sum it all, so, okay, things like that. So, kaya dako man akong chemical engineering mo na siya. Nabita dyan siya pag-ayo. In fairness, okay, diba? I love it really, guys, no? And then in the chemical engineering also, guys, I created my own formula. There's questions with it. Kasi kung saan ako, kung ano, wadyo ko kasugat, guys. You could, sakit na gusto akong ulo. Wadyo ko, I did not encounter that in my whole life to have that kind of problem solving. Then what I did, I really connect all the formulas, starting from first year college, fifth year, and I try to connect the dots all, everything. So like that, and then okay, then I come up with a simplified formula. I'm just telling the reality on the board examination, and then I come to a certain simplified formula. Then I use it, and then when I solve it, the choices is very near there. The A, B, C, D. Then I answer that, things like that. Okay? Nakakaloka. Then if you believe it or not, guys, no, I'm the last examinee who went out from the room at that time in our batch, like that. And then engineer Ma'am Amis Pakamalan, our head of chemical engineering from CIT, she greeted me. Oh, Sotero, imo yung giti-ti ha? Things na, wajud ko, kalimutan nga term Ma'am Amis, ti-ti. Ako di ko nung giti-ti. Nakakaloka because I am the last who went out the room in the in that particular examination. Kung mamuing, okay, ang may kabot ko pa kayo. Charot. Yun ako, kung ako kayo nung sa akong gitubag ni Mamami sa ato, sa lingon na siya nga, imo yung titik-tik. Kaya ako may, the last who came out from the room at that time. And it's also really paid off because mechanical engineering really is the highest. Right? Mumatch man siya, guys. Really, mumatch good siya sa imong performance. For example, I'm not really that good very well in math. Then general engineering also are a little bit lower. And then you really exert effort more on the third day, which is your major, and you are the last who went out, and that is your highest, right? Of the 3%. So it will really match, okay? The way how you exert effort like that. You get the point. Ganon, okay? That's why mamumuchi ko na yung math, guys, because you know, I'm not having a very high score with this. Okay, get the point? Ganon. Okay. So, things like that. Saan sa dako kayo, nang focus mo sa mag-engineering, hindi makipag-bright of math. Okay, get the point? So, ganon. What I mean, di kayo superior sa math. Okay? Though average, a little bit above average, like that, but it's not really that, ano ba, no? Yung superior talaga. You know what I mean? Okay? Because there's a lot of superior na, pras ni Anthony Angelito Banal. Angelito Banal is my classmate in, shout out, Angelito Banal is at top number 5, top notcher siya. He is my classmate in physics. Okay? Things like that. And then we do the experiment in physics like that. And then they are, you know, usually engineering are boys. Only small are girls. There's also girls, but outnumbered by boys. Okay. Now, in our experiment, you know, boys, most of the times are very lazy to write. Right? And then they use me as a secretary like that to write everything from ganon as in the group because they know me also that I love writing like that because once you have a group you know that already, right? Your strength, your weaknesses, and then I'm a secretary for the experiment like that ganon. So what ganon, data ganon, materials, observations, di ba ganon yung experiment, conclusion, observation like that. Okay, and then Banal really is intelligent, but only that, not really that naning. You get the point? Then not hilig usap-suwak ba? You get the point? But I know he's very superior in math, things like that. Okay, and I predicted also before he top, before he did that top the board examination. I suspected already maybe this guy will also be top, things like that. Okay, because I always ask him also. During the because there are also times that we are classmates in this math, algebra 101, like there's a lot of numbers, right? Na classmate could be usahay. You get the point, namunta na jud niya sa pag-solve. And then he is not really selfish. He will also teach me things like that. That's why we shout out, ha? And then Angelito, I can't remember his name, okay, because we are really close because you know about this learning, knowledge, study like that, okay, in our experiment, things like that, okay. So pasan ako siya sa physics, okay, and then nag-top siya, top number 5 siya sa sa civil engineer, okay, sa board exam. You get the point? Si Banal Angelito. Asa na kayo si Banal Angelito, no? Brad, ito siya math po. Nakakaloka. Okay, you get the point. Because you know, if you are in the same, you know, year, you can know also the civil engineering, the other engineering disciplines. But abot ba yung guys? Okay, things like that. Ang mga dense listers. For example, dense listers sa industrial engineering, dense listers sa, but not the other, ha? Sa civil engineering, chemical engineering, mechanical engineering. Usually, makita-kita ba yan sa high. Okay, but the College of Arts and Sciences, dili. Because they have the same, their curriculum is not the same with us. Okay, but all engineering, we have typical subjects, as I told you, in the general engineering, and also the thermodynamics. Okay, most of engineering disciplines have thermodynamics. Okay, and also fluid dynamics. Okay, fluid dynamics, and I think also statistical mechanics. Okay, like that. Apart from engineering mechanics and strength of materials. So these are our common major subjects. Okay, like major naman siya. Okay, get the point? Things like that. And then chemistry and also and physics, we have the same. Okay, 1, 2, 3 lecture mga ganon. Okay, and all math the same until advanced engineering mathematics the same. Now, the chemistry are limited, but we extended our chemistry because we are chemical engineering. So higher our chemistry than them. Okay, because that's our major. Things like that. Okay, but our physics will be a little bit the same also. Things like that. You get the point? So that's why if you ask for basic engineering questions, most of us will answer the same because we have almost the same in our curriculum. Only the major changes. You get the point? All engineering discipline. That's why also in the reality in applying a job, some jobs will be taken by another engineer like that because we have more the same, similar. Okay, for example, process engineer. Process engineer can be also taken by the mechanical engineer sometimes. Okay, then usually chemical engineer because process is really more about on the the substances what is being processed there, and it's also about equipment who will process that solid liquid. So it's gonna be mechanical. It's more closer also. Okay, things like that. And sometimes electronics also can steal a little bit. Okay, if they have experience about substances. So it's not really that if you are this, you will be this. Sometimes it will be stolen by another engineering discipline. You get the point? Things like that. Okay? Magtaka ka nga nung siya ang then a little bit far because, maybe you have experience also. Because all engineering graduates are common in most of the subjects. You get the point? Anak siya. Okay, ganda po yung mga palangga kong hitan. Okay. Okay, nakakalo. Kali malingaw, Jiguani guys do. Okay? Thank you so much for watching. I hope you like this empirical formula and molecular formula topics. I hope you like this. Okay, bye-bye guys everybody. See you later for another topic. Our another topics will be industrial stoichiometry. Okay, get the point. Thanks for that. Bye-bye, guys, everybody. See you later. Charosh. Nakakaloka, ha? Diba? Ay, nako. Nako! Diba? Char, uy. O, diba? Delicious.